All right, what do we got, Wiggles?
Parts for the chuck for that leg over there.
The jaws for the chuck. Look at that. Oh, look at that. It came with bolts.
Oh.
We just went to the hardware store to get bolts. All right, well, let's go see how this looks. So we just took this all apart again because I've still been having chips work out of here. I was having some tight spots, and we've got these new jaws that just arrived.
Here's number 2.
All right, you can just bring them to me as I need them, because there's not a good spot to set them here. Anyway, so this is a brand spanking new set of top jaws from Pratt Bernard. So what we're gonna do is take that out. This is where the spindle lock is kind of handy. Alright, so I've got the spindle lock on, which is a really nice feature on these 10AAs. By the way, we got a knob over here so you can lock the spindle. So what I usually do when I'm working on these set true or just true chucks is I'll go around, break these loose, and then run them back up just snug is the idea that or the theory that I function on. Because you can't let there be a bunch of play in them. Okay, back to the other side. Little tweakage there. There, that's probably too much already. Basically, like adjusting the jaws on a 4-jaw chuck is pretty much what this is like. Except if anything, I would say a little more touchy. Okay, now we got to start tightening these back down. And this can definitely, as you're going around here, snugging up, you can definitely start tweaking it. So you got to keep an eye on your dial indicator. This is one of them where it's not uncommon to have to go back and loosen back up, take another run at it, because as you tighten it down, stuff moves on you. Let's see where I'm at here once. So far we're looking very good there. Alright, we're going to go ahead and engage the spindle lock. Alright, how'd we do? It's just, you see the needle fluttering as it moves past it, and that's it. Now what I'm curious is, what does it do when we get out here a ways away from the chuck? Ooh, that's pretty ugly. So what that's, well, I guess what we don't know, this is not a piece of precision ground bar stock. So let me come back over here. So up close to the chuck, we're really good. I think what we're going to do now is we're going to try grabbing something of a different diameter in here. That's really a big indicator of how true a chuck is. See what she does with that. Seen better and I've seen worse. 5 thousandths. Yeah, not gonna lie, I'm a little disappointed with that. I had higher hopes than that for this chuck. I think we're gonna do a little more investigating here. I think we're gonna pull the chuck off. I should have done that before I started. We're gonna pull the chuck off, make sure that it's really mounted dead true there, because the other issue here is that if it's cocked even a little bit, that could really mess with you. And then we'll come back at this, I think. All right. And I have to figure out exactly where this is leaking at, because he's losing a fair amount of oil out of this end bearing even with it not running. I can't tell that it's the sight gauge, and if it's not, I don't know what else it would be. 25 thousandths on a side. Up 5 on the side. Turning right at 1,000 RPM, by the way. I did check this with my hand tack the other day, and it appears to be pretty on the money. It was off by maybe 50 RPM at the higher speeds, but really, really close though. Surface finish looking good. The reason I'm doing this is I discovered that one of the 3 locks for the chuck was not actually tight, so I'm curious if that was messing with how I was getting results. Dead nuts on the money there. I'm going to try taking a spring cut now without changing anything. Yeah, it's over that distance, dead nuts on. All right, everybody. After some thought overnight, I have decided that I want maximum attainable accuracy. I mean, I already knew that, and I think the way to get it, I indicated the body of this chuck in last night, and right now with the jaws as centered as I can get them, right, I'm got them zeroed out here, you know, about 3/4 of an inch in front of the jaws. When I put that ground bar in out here, you know, 6-8 inch out, I'm getting like 10 thousandths of runout in it. So that means that my jaws aren't gripping it square. And you may recall, or I don't know if I put it in the video, but anyway, I indicated I had the chuck right off from its backing plate, ran an indicator on the backing plate, and verified that the backing plate is dead nuts on. So that's not the issue. So I'm going to, at this point, I've decided, go ahead and take this chuck body, or take the jaws out of the chuck body, clean everything up spotlessly, stone the surfaces between the top and bottom jaws, make sure there's no burrs, no nothing, indicate the chuck body in to be running dead true, put the jaws back on, and I'm going to ID grind the face of these jaws with a tool post grinder and see if we can get this thing just dialed right in is the objective. So at any rate, that's what we're setting up to do now, and I'll bring you guys along for the project. Okay, so I just took this first jaw off. I can get a closer look at it. So this is confirming what I was thinking. So you can see the bottom of this thing all fully ground, sides ground, but then on the face of the jaws, you can definitely see milling marks on them yet. With, you know, they get that kind of a grayish sheen to them after they've been to heat treat. So I would about bet you money that if I got instructions from Pratt Bernard, they'd tell you, you have to grind these in. I mean, there's no way that these things are getting machined, going to heat treat, getting all ground, and then that face being absolutely dead true to the base of them. Like, it's just not even possible. Like, I'm going to do something like this. I want to know for a certainty that there's nothing else throwing me out. Like, this is a once in a lifetime, do it and never do it again sort of project. So that's why at this point, I've had, you know, the D13 apart and cleaned and super cleaned that, made sure there's no chips. I've had the body of the chuck apart, super cleaned that, and now we're going ahead with, dropped a bolt. Anyways, going ahead with taking all the jaws back apart. I cleaned them up when I put them on, but not to the level that I will find acceptable, you know, for grinding them to fit the body. Like, I want to know for an absolute certainty that when I put these things on here the next time, that they are absolutely accurate. All right, so I have taken the top jaws all off, removed the bottom jaws, squeaky cleaned everything, put it all back together with just a very light coat of light hydraulic oil, just a little bit of slippy slide. And then what I've done is gone in here, and you can see, put a washer in just behind these jaws. Now, I've got this sitting on the floor right now. Here's what I'm going in there with. This is the ID grinder. Now, you can see it's got a retaining screw that sticks out the front. So what I had to do is I had to get in here far enough. So the point is, you need tension on the jaws, right? Even a brand new chuck, there is play in these slides in them. There has to be, right? Like, there's got to be clearance. So when you clamp down with your jaws, they always rock out a bit, and you need that taken out of it and just whatever slop and play there is in it in order to get an accurate grind. Now, here's the thing you've got to remember when you're doing this. You need to be as far forward with whatever you're clamping in there as you can, because if you get even centered on this slide, it's not going to predispose it one way or another, or if you get all the way to the back, it's actually going to be kicking them the wrong direction. So what I'm going for here is the maximum distance forward that I can be and still clear that retaining screw on the end of my grinding wheel. Now, the other thing you notice I got going on here is, how did I pick the size? I used a big heavy washer. I went with the largest diameter I could get that had my lower jaws fully engaged in the chuck body. Reason for that is, once again, there's some play in it. As soon as you start coming out past the face of your chuck body, accuracy is guaranteed to start deteriorating because, I don't know the correct terminology for it, but basically, you're going to have less and less engagement, and the play is going to get magnified, whatever clearance there is in there. So by the time you get out here, you know, sticking out an inch past your chuck body, you can do that, but accuracy is going out the window. What I want is maximum diameter, because the farther out I can have my jaws, the flatter the grind on these faces will be. You know, the larger the diameter of the circle that I'm grinding is, and you can see a little bit of that if you look at one of these old jaws. You can see these have definitely been ground. They've got a concave face to them. You want to keep that concave face as large of a radius as possible. So that's what I'm going for here. Maximum diameter I can have the jaws open to and still have them fully engaged in the body of the chuck. So anyway, what I'm going to do now is, I won't bother boring you with this, but I'm going to go ahead and get this lathe chuck body loosened up and zero it with an indicator on the body of the chuck, and then we're going to go to it and do some grinding. light that time. I think we are close enough to full cleanup, but I want to figure out how to do a finish pass now. Alright everybody, so I've done a little MacGyvering here, and I think I've got a setup that will allow me to dress my stones. Just learned a lesson the hard way. So because of the way it's spinning, I was above the center line of it, and it pretty much immediately gave me a big old chattery gouge right out at the end of my stone where it's going to murder me if I don't make it go away. So that's ugly. Pratt, this is driving me crazy. My screw loosened up there again, which is obviously a very bad problem at this moment. I think that's the reason, by the way, that they had multiple washers on here. I think they were trying to deal with that problem. We're just gonna have to roll with that. It's driving me absolutely bananas trying. It'll get vibrating, you know, it's way out on that thin little stem, and it'll get to humming and vibrating and then chatter its way into the stone. I don't know how else to describe it. Something weird going on. Even with all of that, it's still hitting back here. There's just something about the harmonics and deflection. So we're gonna cheat now that we've got the stone basically round and a new cutting face up, and we're going to just spin this thing in intentionally a little bit there and do that until I get it where it's cutting on the leading edge of the stone when I come in here. That is crazy. So my dressing job, I think, actually made it worse than what it was. Not quite sure how that's possible, but it seems to be that that's what happened. Grinding our way back out on our final pass. See, we're barely just picking up a spark every once in a while, but it's pretty well sparked out. Well, time to get this out of here and get an indicator on it on a bar and see how we did. So obviously I got to tear this all apart, clean everything up, really, you know, get the grit all out of it. But before I do all of that, mostly before I tear all this down, I want to get a bar in here, just make sure that my initial impressions of this result is good. Grab it full depth in the jaws here. First question is, do we feel any wiggle? Like, that is evidence of taper, and it feels to me like it was tightening up perfectly even there. Then here's the next question. What does she do up close? No measurable movement there. I can tell you already that we have definitely improved things, because, you know, I'm what, 2 inches out there and there is no measurable wiggle in the bar. So that is what we were shooting for. Definite improvement. I think over that distance I was getting about 5 thousandths before I ground these jaws in. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and tear this all down, do a major cleanup, and then I'll bring you guys back and show you the final result of all of this. Pull the jaws all out and give this thing a good... I'm going to hose off every one of these jaws. Alright, so here we are. Got basically 1,000 to run out there. This is on a, what diameter is this bar? So 1.25 inches. So this bar is 1/8 inch bigger than what I was chucked on before, you know, when I was chucked up on that ring. Now, as I don't remember who, but somebody pointed out last time I was playing with this, this is just a piece of a 1 stock. There's no guarantee that it's dead true, but it's reasonably good. And I've got 6 thousandths there, which I'm pretty happy with that. So when I, and what are we here? I don't even have a tape measure long enough, but we're about something, yeah, right at 12 inches from the chuck. So I consider that to be absolutely fantastic. At any rate, I am very happy with that. For the work that I do, that will be absolutely fantastic. So at this point, I think we are done with the chuck setup, and yeah, we'll put the tool post back on and we're ready to rock and roll. Alright, well, here's what I've been trying to accomplish now. We're going to see how she works. So we're turning about 1,800 RPM. So, what I'm doing here is, I'd already roughed this out to the same diameter all the way down so that I knew, you know, we weren't getting any idiosyncrasies from that. I'm going to just, whew, she's warm. Yank that out, flip it around, just randomly retighten it in there, turn this loose and make it cut back the other way and meet the other one. A little bit of talk out of it out here. Hopefully it gets that out of its system before I get up here. So, what I'm wanting to see here, we were wanting. Step there is barely feelable. You might have half a thou difference. Now what I want to do is I want to check what I'm going to call repeatability here. Can't measure it, can't feel it, so yeah, that stop appears to be very repeatable that Monarch's got built into this thing, so that's quite impressive. Alright, well, I believe that that's going to about wrap this project up. guess we'll bring you guys back. We got something worth showing, but to the best of my knowledge, other than trying to hunt up a tailstock, that has got this lathe up to what I had in mind for functionality. So I think this will be it, guys, and we'll bring you back when I've got something else worth showing.